Hello everyone, my name is Walder Richards from DaGameTrain, and it's time to grab ourselves a medal. A medal of honor!
Electronic Arts.
Human civilization has always known conflict. But it wasn't until the 20th century that the scope magnified to such a bloody scale as to engulf the entire world. In the aftermath of the war to end all wars, Adolf Hitler and his Nazi party fanned the flames of a broken and dispirited nation, rebuilding the country from the ashes of the Versailles Treaty into a fascist juggernaut that seemed unstoppable. They pushed all the way to the Atlantic in their blitzkrieg, with England their next target. But Winston Churchill and his small island nation won the Battle of Britain, holding out through Hitler's terror bombing for an entire year. They stoked the fires of freedom long enough to stay alive and to save the world. After Pearl Harbor, the United States, with all its military and industrial muscle, entered the war. First Africa, then Italy, and then finally Fortress Europe itself. You, soldier, are a part of this great crusade. Are you ready to rise above and beyond the call of duty?
Hell yeah, boy. But first let's check the controls, because this is the one thing that keeps bothering me every fucking time I start this game. I think all is fine. Okay. So this is Medal of Honor. It is a game where you shoot shit and eventually get a medal for honor. Let's start.
Good morning, Lieutenant. I'm Colonel Hargrove from the Office of Strategic Services. I'll get right to the point. The OSS was formed 2 years ago by presidential order to serve as the intelligence branch of the United States military. Our mission is anything and everything. Espionage, sabotage, subversion, search and rescue, you name it, we do it. Now, from time to time, we recruit people from outside of the regular ranks, especially if they've got a particular skill we need. Like you, Lieutenant Patterson. What you did last Monday got our attention. I know you consider yourself just another anonymous pilot in the Transport Corps, but taking out a half a dozen of the Wehrmacht and then sneaking back into friendly territory is quite an impressive feat of soldiering by anyone's measure. I had your records from basic and OCS pulled. Your instructors gave you high marks for weapons and munitions training. You were the top marksman in your class, excellent leadership skills, noted for being especially smart and resourceful. I also had your university transcript pulled. You were just one semester away from getting your aerospace engineering degree before you enlisted. You had earned straight A's from start to finish. In short, Lieutenant, you're just the kind of man we're looking for. But it's completely up to you whether you want to join us or not. Unfortunately, there's not much time to make a decision, so if the answer is yes, you'll be on a plane within the hour heading back to France. If it's no, you'll be ordered to forget we ever had this conversation. So, Lieutenant Patterson, what will it be?
Yes! Sign me up! We'll be playing as James Stephen Patterson, who happens to be a mega nerd by the looks of it, and also a pretty skilled sharpshooter. But we'll soon learn that, well, the sharpshooting statistics were kind of off, but what can you do? Anyway, the character we play as does not matter in the slightest, because he's just there to stand in for us, the true player that matters. And in my case it will be me, Walder Richards. So, let's begin with the very first mission: find the downed plane. Bonjour, my name is Manon. Colonel Hargrove told me that you've decided to join the OSS. Welcome to the fight. I'll be your liaison with the French resistance. We call ourselves the Maquis. I think that's how you pronounce it. If not, fuck me, right? Time is of the essence, so press that X button to turn that page and start the briefing. Hell yeah, boy! Your first mission begins immediately. An allied G3 operations officer was shot down last night. Not very good at his job, is he? He and his pilot were returning from a secret rendezvous with my Maquis comrades. I was about to say something weird like officer or something, I don't know. When their plane was hit. Oh shit! The G3 has vast knowledge not only of Allied battle plans but of the resistance as well. The whole French underground in this region is at stake. Like many people before the time of the World War, they also ended up on the stake, but that's for a completely different reason. We found the pilot this morning, but there's no sign of the G3. Well, shit. The Wehrmacht search parties are out in force, so at least we know the Germans haven't found him. Yet. Start by locating the downed plane and see where the trail leads. The pilot's logbook is also missing, so be on the lookout for it as well. And once you hit that X one more time, it's on to victory in Medal of Honor. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm hyped as shit because this game is balls. But not the bad kind of balls, it's a good kind of balls. The balls that you want. I think that makes sense. Son of a bitch, the analog controls are still on. Here we go. I think I shot that Nazi in the balls. Anyway, you move around with either the D-pad or if your analog controls are on, with the analog stick. Although, it seems like I can move with the analog stick even if the analog controls are off. It's just a little bit more unwieldy. You shoot with the X. You reload with the square and do actions with the square if there are any actions to be done. You switch weapons with the circle. And you jump. Yes, you jump in this game. With the good old triangle. There are other things you can do with other buttons naturally. L1 and R1 are used for strafing, which is very nice. I do like a good game with a good strafing. R2 is used for the fine aim mode, and L2 is for crouching. Crouching down on the ground to avoid getting your ass beat. Which is exactly what you want when you're in the middle of a fight. Sometimes. If you press start, you will be given your mission objectives, which are very simple. Find the plane and recover the logbook for this very mission. And that's about it in terms of controls, really. You don't have much else to do. Just shoot the Nazis and do your objective. It's as simple of a game as it can get. And for a PlayStation 1 game, well, that's all you can really ask, right? It's still pretty early in terms of all the 3D shenanigans, so I don't care. I actually prefer it to be more simple myself, because there's nothing wrong with a simple game. In fact, I prefer to have simple games. Because then I don't have to waste 300 hours trying to figure out how to do basic bullshit. Something which I really hate doing in certain games. Especially strategy games. That shit happens way too often. But in strategy games, at least it's kind of understandable. It's a strategy game. You're supposed to learn shit. But in a shooter game, how much can you spend your time? Like, how long can you spend to try and learn stuff that's supposed to be basics? It shouldn't take much longer than a few seconds, if you know what I mean. Like, it shouldn't take a very long time to learn how to play the fucking game, then it's just as simple as shoot the bad guys and do stuff. Which is probably why that new Doom game is doing so well, because it's literally nothing more than just shooting bad guys and doing stuff occasionally. That's all you really need in a shooter game. When shooter games try to be more than just shooter games, that's when they start to suck. You called me a Kugel? Piece of shit. I'm not a Kugel. Kugel is a good thing though. Oh, this machine gun, I fucking love it. Oh yeah! Most sound effects. But if you want something better, have that rumble on, motherfucker, cause it's gonna rumble like a bitch! I love it. Naturally, machine guns are the most overpowered pieces of shit that you can find in a game like this, and also they are completely unlimited in their ammunition. However, there's no point in sticking around with them for a very long time because they actually attract large crowds of enemies. Like, I don't know what the big deal is, but for some reason every time I stick around on a machine gun, I just have swarms of enemies come to me and they never seem to end. So I usually just don't waste my time. This is where you find the logbook of the pilot, by the way. Man, I thought you died. There we go. Yeah, there's nothing much more to say about this game when it comes to the basic stuff. You walk, you shoot, you do shit. You do shooter game shit. That's all that matters. Right from the start, you'll notice that you're racking up that ammo like nothing else. Well, I suggest you keep a good hold of that ammo, because all ammo carries over. And you're gonna need it later on. Because ammunition doesn't come that easily. All objectives have been completed except for the new one that just showed up. Enter the town. Can we read the sign? Paris, 210 kilometers. The other sign, like the other thing that they're supposed to read, is impossible to read because it's too pixelated. The wonders of old school video games where you have signs but you just can't fucking read them. They're too blurry, too pixelated. Stop calling me a Kugel! You're supposed to eat those! By the way, minefields are blocked off, so you'll never have to worry about them. At least I think so. I've never had a case where you had to run into a minefield, but then again, I've never beaten this game. So let's make it change. Let's make history happen. And look at that, my accuracy is now 35%. I took 6 shots. But hey, I killed 28 people. And most of them died from headshot. I am a winger, apparently. So I'm fine with that. After every mission you get to save your game. And you get to type in your name too with this amazing piece of shit of a typing machine. But hey, it ain't too bad. It looks pretty old school to me. So it makes sense. Wait, do I want to use this name? No, let's use a more thematic name. I mean, we are playing as DaGameTrain. Not the game train. We're not gaining things. Not yet, at least. Oh, son of a bitch. It doesn't fit. Fine. Press send to begin. How about fuck you? Checking your memory card. The good old times of checking your memory card. And this block is used up by Spyro too. Well, we can't use that now, can we? Of course I could just delete the bloody thing, but whatever. I was actually planning to record Spyro 2 before this game, but I ran into the simple problem of I have almost nothing to say by myself. So I need to get some more people to join me before I can do that. Oh. Très bien, Patterson. Those hedgerows were crawling with Germans. I'm glad to see you made it through all in one piece. The G3's trail has brought you to my home village of Dubuisson. The G3 knew that there was an active McQueen. I hope that's the right way to say it, because how else do you say it? It's definitely not Makuz, because that sounds weird. That's what a Russian would say. And I know in most cases after a Q like that, like when it's written like that, and S is kind of silent. I think that I'm getting that right. I don't know. Do I look like I'm French to you? All I know is baguette, baguette, Paris Tower, Elysian Fields is full of rats, and all that. Anyway, the G3 knew that there was an active McQueen cell here, so I hope he's safe in their hideout. Unfortunately, there is a more pressing problem. The Gestapo. Or, well, Gestapo, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Set up as the Nazi Party's secret police. The Gestapo is filled with miscreants and wanton criminals who lack the discipline of professional soldiers. Well, that's mostly correct. Gestapo members are ransacking homes and shops, brutally driving out the civilians who live and work here. Oh, those animals! These are people who have supported the resistance throughout the war. Please, you must do something to help them. If you eliminate some of the officers and destroy their ability to communicate with headquarters, I'm confident these thugs will scurry away like rats. I hope so. Your objectives are as follows. Neutralize at least 8 of the Gestapo officers, destroy the unit's radio, and find the hideout. Simple as that, right? The fight continues. I like these fucking loading screens. They're so nice to look at. I don't know. They're always so uplifting. I gotta say though, Medal of Honor series on PlayStation 1 don't take themselves nearly as seriously as most of the shooters do nowadays, which is a good thing. I think more shooters should be a bit more lighthearted than what we got nowadays, because, I mean, take Call of Duty for example. It's all super serious. Ugh, the war! It's bullshit! But we gotta fight for the freedoms! Oh yeah! And all that. But here it's like, we're shooting some bitches and shit. It's really not that serious. And once you get to the levels where there are bipedal dogs shooting you up with miniguns, yeah, that's when you realize, okay, that's fucking bullshit. That didn't happen in the war. I'm pretty sure it didn't happen in the war. You shut up down there. Or up there, I should say. Prior to this recording, I recorded Silent Hill Orphanage, and if you have seen the video on that already, well, you probably know that not only was it a piece of shit that didn't want to work for some odd reason, but also that I was drinking, because it's a special occasion. I didn't drink too much, just 1 can of beer, because I'm too poor to afford more at the moment. Plus, I'm not really an alcoholic kind of a person. I mean, if you want alcoholic shenanigans, Game Gallows is all for that. But, I just wanted to get a little buzzed, because it's an occasion. You gotta get a little buzzed. It's Halloweeners! Soon. In about 2 days, from the time of this recording at least, it'll be Halloweeners. And people will be busting my chops and busting my door down, to be more exact, trying to get my candies, but I'll be like, no, fuck off from my candies. I ain't got no candies. Why don't you give me some treats?